Okay, we're back again doing the second part to Batman the Dark Knight, the animated movie.
Yep, we told you we'd be back. You thought we wouldn't be back. You probably didn't care. But we're here. That's the important thing. And when we left off, we had an out of comic sequence cliffhanger with the Joker licking his lips and saying, darling, because we know that's the relationship historically between Batman and the Joker. So we got the Sons of Batman here who have now replaced the mutants because they're followers and they need somebody to follow.
Yep.
Which
This also say that the mutants follow trends, which you could say Chris Claremont has followed trends, but he wouldn't say that. They work together. They work together on Wolverine, so I'll take it back.
Yeah, so we have that set up right there, and they're still doing the whole is who's on the right side? Is it should we go for Batman? Should we not go for Batman? Lana Lang is still sitting incredibly masculine as she's put on the weight over the years.
They really hurt her. Oh,
Yeah.
we got back as Cal was saying. We got the Joker, and he's loving it.
Yeah. See, some of the stuff I didn't understand as to how his lips went pale. I guess with time, and he needed makeup. That little bit confused me because at some point, in the comics, I thought, okay, that was his natural color.
Yeah.
And then when they did those type of things, because the green is still there and the pasty white skin, but for some reason his lips, and then he needed lipstick, and I was wondering, well, did he actually use makeup? But I was young.
I didn't think about that. That's an interesting point. It's just I know it's for Frank. It's more for effect, and then they're playing it out a little longer, which is it's interesting where they get to play that out where you see it pale. I really wasn't looking for it when I saw the early parts. I just saw the Joker. I knew it was Joker, and I thought, oh, this is going to be good.
Yeah. This psychiatrist is such a sucker.
Yeah.
I mean, it has. I don't. But again, it's a period piece, and there was a lot of psychological self-help talk at the time. Not that it stopped, okay, but it was. Look, if you can isolate this thing that happened to you when you were a kid, or at this moment, this is the thing that promulgated everything that's happened to you, and if we can try to exercise that particular demon, then hey, we'll be okay, we'll be fine. So it's a fair assessment along those lines. But man, you're dealing with the Joker, and I mean, the other thing we also have to remember is that at this time, the Joker was not portrayed as he is now. This guy was definitely a killer and somebody to worry of, but nowhere near to the potential that they brought him to after The Dark Knight Returns. So him being in this type of sanitarium, sitting around inside of a open dressing gown would have been okay.
Here we go.
Yes.
This is where everything goes south. No, I was trying to. I almost checking out, but I did. They have all the stuff as Cal was saying. We also have all the aspect of Reagan because we still had a little bit of Reagan left. And, he was obviously the butt of a million jokes. And why not have Frank in there? But we also have someone else that's his buddy and his stooge, his government enforcer. We have Superman.
Oh, man. Like I said, the first half of The Dark Knight Returns, the comic, for me, is an excellent Batman story. I am not sure where the direction comes from after that first half, because now you bring Reagan into it, and again, it's a period piece. Reagan was like this real. People were running around in Reagan masks for Halloween. They would had the Reagan's rap, for this hip hop thing.
Yeah.
It was it was a really easy thing to tap into, but he was very popular, and that's one of the reasons why he was very easy to tap into. And if you were in New York at the time, as Frank was, you saw how Reaganomics affected New York in terms of the crime and the violence, and you definitely can say something about that. Bringing Superman into the story, and
well, I would say we didn't know where it was gonna go. I didn't know it was gonna just completely go south in the comic. I was like, oh, let's see where Superman is. I want to see Frank draw Superman, and it could be fun. And this setup, how he appears in this scene coming up, was pretty nice in the hunt. I hadn't been jaded at this point. As the hunt for the Dark Knight goes on in the comic, it didn't go south yet. So watching this, I'm not sure. Now in my head is going south because I've read it enough times. But when I read it as a kid, I was like, "Oh, okay, Superman's here." And there was some okay scenes. Didn't like how it's going to play out later. How Batman reacted to him in this scene in the liquor store. But this goes into Batman being a master of disguise, and it's a good disguise. And I think in the Hunt, he had a couple disguises also in there. So
Yeah, unfortunately, he doesn't use them where he can really make most effect of it.
yeah.
I mean, these are supposedly the Joker's guys, if I remember this correctly. This is these are the Joker's guys, and okay. And Miller is definitely exercising some of his early Sin City ideas when we look at them here.
Well, got some propaganda in there. He loves the throw around the Nazi symbols for showing the bad guys.
Yeah. So, I didn't understand how the Joker had henchmen so quickly.
Yeah,
That he was able to, that he had been inside of this asylum for all this time, but he's able to get up to speed really quick.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And then the other problem that I usually have with the Joker is that this guy's a psychopath, but he can always find people to work for him.
Yeah.
And then people explain it away, oh, people will do anything for money. Yes, but you could end up dead very quickly with the Joker.
Mm-hmm.
So, and again, I remember in reading the comic, this was the introduction. I had no idea Superman was going to make an appearance at all. Okay? And then we had some little teases of it, and they really did a good. I have to give Miller a lot of credit. I like the nuance that was brought into bringing him in, where before he comes in, he saves some people. He's faster than a speeding bullet here, more powerful than a locomotive here, and then the whole meeting between the two of them, it didn't sit well with me because I just didn't understand what the animosity was, at the time. But you read it and you go along, and you read it and you go along with it. Yeah, it pretty much does go. It doesn't go south immediately, but once it goes south, it goes south, and there's no coming back.
Mm-hmm.
There's no coming back from it.
And it has a Superman who also is, messes things up as he flies. Like that's the aspect. As a kid, I being cynical. I mentioned to my father, "How could Superman do this without doing that?" He's like, "Well, he's Superman. He should be able to. If someone drops from a building and he lands in his hand, his powers in such a way he can figure out how to keep him from dying." And we can't have a Superman that just destroys everything while he flies.
Unless you're Frank Miller.
Or everybody else.
Yeah.
And, well, Frank introduces that, and then everyone took to that, Lord, what is going on in this story? How did that, it's bigger, but it's like, I can't imagine anyone surviving that. How did the girl survive? How did
it's decompressed. They did the fight that we saw in the comic was literally, it was like over 2, 3, 4 pages max to get through that. This entire scene was probably about 4 pages. No problem. We come over here now and it's been decompressed, for reasons that weren't really necessary.
Mm-hmm.
And it would have, trust me, if it would have worked better if it had been faster.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
to really get to that. Because now we had this whole situation between Batman, and this Joker henchman over here, which never made a lot of sense when I thought about it. I was like, why do you need these people to tell you where the Joker is? Mm-hmm. I think you should be able to sort it out on your own.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's still inside of this suit. That suit made a lot of sense in the comic because he was only in it for a little bit. And in the comics, he was even saying that the suit was slowing him down. Here, it doesn't look like it was any big problem.
Yeah.
He actually looks a lot more dynamic, aerodynamic in that suit than he ever looked in the Batman outfit in the animation that we're watching here.
I think this might be the first time I'm watching this. I don't remember. I know I watched the first part. I didn't watch the second. So, wow. They really, making this a lot longer.
Yep, a lot longer.
To get to that scene.
Yeah, and he really needed to knock her out. He just needed to do
Batman
it.
Do something.
Yeah, do as you're told. Get the hell out of here. Yeah. And all the Robins always like Superman.
I don't think in the comic he needed to pull up. Oh no, he did pull up the mask at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Then we have the whole thing brought in with the friction between the United States over this fictional island of Corto Maltese.
Yeah, this is. I was not. This is when.
And a lot of guys vibed with it. And again, it's a period. It's a tripping over my own self.
Yeah.
It's the time period. Okay, the time period. You know, we're in the Cold War with the Russians. You know, the arms race has probably reached its apex at that particular time, and it had already been. I mean, Watchmen also did a very good job of this as well. I remember when Dr. Manhattan disappears from the earth, and they're like, "Oh man, the balance of power is upset now because without Dr. Manhattan, the United States could be attacked. You know, with nuclear weapons." And it was like this, this real tentative shift that happens with the United States and Russia with the loss of Dr. Manhattan. Here, Dr. Manhattan is Superman. He's the United States deterrent.
Yeah. And it seems like they were saying, well, Burns says that they were hanging out the make-readies of Watchmen. And in his opinion that Frank read some of those make-readies and started to push it, sort of a government, push the aspect of the government shutting down the heroes, which we'll find out. Hopefully we'll find out later in this. And we're losing Commissioner Gordon.
I think we lost him. I think we lost him in the last one.
But I mean, he's still in the story, but he's not in the story. So there's I know in the comic there's one last bit, but there's really nothing for him to do. And this is why I felt that The Dark Knight, the original story, should have played out more stuff with I know in this portion, I believe Yendel's going to do more stuff, but I really believe they should have done more with Commissioner Gordon and Yendel in the ending of The Dark Knight.
Well, it was service on his part. He was like, I don't know if Miller did some of these things because it was organic, or if he did, he's like, hey, let's just do this, let's run this up the flagpole and see how it happens. Okay, Commissioner Gordon's leaving, let's put a woman in, okay? And let's give it some. Let's play around with it. Let's give it some overtones. To keep people whispering or to keep people talking about it. Okay, let's make Robin female because Robin sucks, of course, unless I do it. Yeah. Okay, and Byrne, of course, did lead him a little bit on that. But I don't think he really had any big plans for that character. It was just to make the shift. That was it. I mean, here. Right now, we're seeing a lot more of her than we ever saw in the comic.
Yeah, we did. This is, I think it was just a press conference where we just saw her in the screen.
Oh my goodness. We have, she looks like a man with boobs. She really does. Well, they have in this, so masculine everywhere else, and then she got boobs.
Because the anime, they wanted us to know that she's a woman. So they put the
because she looks like
there.
A man.
But if she had, it was a suit, you wouldn't necessarily see that. Oh, I walk right into position.
Yep. Eagle just happens to land on me.
Butterfly.
Plunging neckline on my shirt.
Excuse me, everybody.
I think you got the shirt from Power Man.
Yeah. Sorry, I had a little problem earlier with seeing Reagan. It was just too much Reagan at that time. I didn't need to see Reagan in my Batman story. Sorry, everyone.
Yeah, the whole situation here never made a lot of sense. They're talking here. And again, I was trying to get what was the animosity between the two of them. Okay, Superman goes to decide he's going to work for the government because, and my opinion is that if you get to the core of Superman, one of the core of Superman works when he's this archetype, he's this heroic figure, and he's based on helping people. Okay, that's what he probably wants to do more than anything else. He wants to put his powers in the service of other people to make certain their lives, can go along smoothly. So Superman can be as powerful as anything because whatever the amount of power he's going to need in order to save the people, that's the power he's going to get. So if he needs to push a planet, he's going to push a planet. If he needs to go from the universe, one side of the universe to the other in a second so he can save people, that's what he's going to happen. That's the heroic quality to him. And I see a little bit of that. I see that usurped to go work for the government. That's the only way I can help people? Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. Hal could go back to the stars. Diana could go back to the people. Me, I have no planet to go back to. And I'm, to be honest, for most intents and purposes, I'm an American. I'm raised here. I have all these values. So what am I going to do? They give me this option. I'll work out this option, and hopefully, eventually, things change, and maybe things can go back. And before you know it, you're like, hey, how did I get here? I'm on the wrong side of everything. But that's his problem. Yeah. I never understood what was the enmity between him and Batman. Why you guys? What happened between the two of you guys?
he became. Well, we'll find out later. He's gonna say it at some point how he felt that he just was. I don't want to reveal it. It's just hard. Like this part is really okay. This is more. This is the Superman scene coming up.
Well, they added.
Yeah, they added. Here we go, and it's dull. Oh. Everything has been dulled out.
Yeah.
Because we need to see that as Superman. And who fights a war walking around with a flag? Like, they got the flag out there just so you know it's American.
Yeah, because it's like one of the Napoleonic Wars. You know, when they still had ensigns and, you know, that sort of thing.
Lord.
No, I mean, he's out there. Now he's pretty much, I mean, he's a stooge. He's doing all of his actions are being dictated by the government. Okay, he's not doing anything of his own. He's not doing anything of his own volition. He's not going out there and saving people, okay, because they need help. He's doing stuff strictly because the government's told him to. So we have to go. So you have to go through that. But I mean, if you read the comic, you understand a little bit of what Batman was talking. But it just seems so petty at the end of the day. Yeah. You know. So yeah, that's the biggest problem I have with it. Once it goes south, it goes, and it's like 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And I always ask myself, what keeps it from just like totally imploding? That theme and the art.
Okay. I think there's definitely some. It's harder to see here because even when Superman comes in and you can see he's with the government, like Frank did that scene we saw earlier, and it's amazing. And then we go here, and it was very dull. So.
Yeah,
Did she continue going to school after this?
Yeah, she was going to school, and Alfred was coming to pick her up because it makes no sense whatsoever. You know, I guess they did it with Dick Grayson, so you know it must work here too.
I don't know. Our producer Mario said we shouldn't have done this, but you know, and now I'm finding out why. It's been pretty tough, and I don't necessarily see them adding. And then they just set up everything that's going to happen later in this thing because it's a movie, but in the actual Dark Knight, there was some magical aspect to what the Joker does, that he could do it instantaneously, not that we need to see that setup we just saw of the Joker and planning with the guys. It just happened.
Yeah, because it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, there's that too.
You just let it go. Mm-hmm. I thought Mario was more. Mario, he came after me. He was like, "No, you guys did this instead of Man of Steel." He was like, "I wanted you to do Man of Steel." So you know, we'll do that too. But you know, I thought this was, you know, hey, we got the Batman Superman movie coming out.
There you go. There was the lipstick. He did it for us,
and we know why he had to put on lipstick because Miller had to push this one. Okay, you got to push the whole thing. You got to put the homoeroticism has to be pushed.
That was not in the character at any point.
This is the thing with comics, especially superhero comics, that I've never taken to. They take these characters that are archetypes to a very large extent, iconic characters, and they don't have anything to add. So let's analyze them from this point of view. Let's not look at Batman as good and the Joker as evil. Let's look at the Joker as someone who's in love with Batman. And it's really, it perverts the whole thing to an extent where, okay, there's even more reason to put this guy out of his misery, okay? If that's the case, because the only reason why he's doing this stuff is to get your attention. He's like the stalker, you know, the jilted girlfriend or boyfriend who's like, okay, I'm willing to set myself on fire if it'll win your love somehow. Only he's setting all of Gotham City on fire. Ugh. Oh yeah.
Now you brought up a point earlier that Batman is a master of disguise, and we talked earlier about this. Why is he attacking head on in this scene when he needs to use what he used to disguise earlier in the scene, in the movie? Why is he coming and beating these guys up when he needs to get in there to save the people?
How did he make that drop? His cape. You know, he became Superman or something.
His cape has some gliding ability.
Yeah, like Moon Knight. He stole it from Moon Knight.
Well, Moon Knight was a copy, so he can take anything back. He can take more back.
So this is Darkseid, Thanos, Mongol. No, he's trying to get the Joker. He knows where the Joker is, and the simplest thing would have been, hey, just disguise yourself. Yes. Go into the show, take out the Joker. He could have disguised himself as almost anyone. It seems he's a master of disguise. Instead,
I'll play devil. He couldn't. He had to do this.
How? Why?
I don't have a reason. I just play devil's advocate.
It's those Man of Steel arguments where, look, because I like it, I must disagree with you because if I agree with you, that means it totally.
You're just
I'm,
wrong.
I'm irrelevant
You're just
now.
wrong. It's not. I mean,
He could have
he had
disguised himself.
to,
He could have disguised himself
even
and just
though,
gotten in there and taken out the Joker with no problem. Instead, he decides to go and beat up cops on the roof, and these guys haven't done anything wrong.
Yeah.
They're doing their job. It's like,
Yeah.
and people had no problem with it because these are the cops. They're in stormtrooper riot gear, so they must be wrong because the cops are wrong. Unless, of course, we actually need help, then the cops are like, no. He went over there. He's beating these guys up. The main problem is still happening because he made the wrong decision. That entire audience of people dies, and that seems to just go over everyone's head because you're so fixated with, wow, he's 55 years old. And he's still kicking all this ass, and he's throwing thermite, and he's doing. You can't stop Batman. Batman's he's a force of nature. He can't be. He can only be contained. He can't be stopped.
Yeah.
You're late, but all the people end up dead, and I never understood why that never came across.
And this is another problem: the Hollywood bullets. They totally have Hollywood bullets right now. They didn't play it out this long in the comics, so it's pretty quick. But then there's the other aspect they had when you just saw the Joker. And they played it up in the comic where Joker was very thin early on, and he comes out, and he's as big as Batman now.
I thought he was wearing one of those 1980s like women's outfits with the padded shoulders. And his...
It could be.
I thought that was it.
Oh no! What's happening?
Look at him. He looks like he's been benching 250.
They played up the whole Frank Miller change. Wow. So it's going south.
But so we understand why. Batman couldn't just do the smart thing and take him out. Because if he does a smart thing and take him out, we don't get to have scenes like this. We don't get to have scenes with him, breaking a cup, killing someone, killing the whole audience, and we don't get to see just how depraved and messed up the Joker is. We could have seen that if Miller decided to actually write something conducive towards the Joker doing that, and not put him in this position where Batman looks like Batman looks like a twit.
It's a twofold thing. Having the cops protect the Joker, and then the Joker ultimately does the crime. So then when Batman feels he has to make a decision of life or death with the Joker, is he in the wrong? Or is it like all that whole I must not sort of stuff, which is not needed? It could have just been something more Joker-esque. Something big, like huge. Oh, Lord.
Yeah, didn't see that coming, did you, Bartholomew? And the same stupidity that I could apply to Batman for this situation right here, we will apply later to a certain Man of Steel when it comes time. Because it's... certain listeners are probably familiar with plot-induced stupidity. Yeah. Okay, where you go along with things. There's character-induced stupidity and plot-induced stupidity. And here, in order to enjoy this, you really have to lower your IQ 10, 20, 30 points.
No, look how magnificent. He's killed more than he's ever. Miller has taken the Joker and made him a threat. He wasn't a threat. Even though Denny Neal, and maybe even in the first story, he was sort of a threat. But this is a real threat that only Batman can stop.
Well, yeah, and of course the guys who are doing the animation get the dream. Oh yeah, we can do all these really cool scenes and... no, this guy, even the guy over here, Endocrine, he might have been able to make it. He could have ran off stage. He was holding his breath long enough. They were like, no. But the whole idea is, we don't get to see Batman be a tough guy, with his quien es más macho over here. We don't get to see Batman be a tough guy, and we don't get to see the Joker be a homicidal maniac unless this scene plays out. Could it have been done differently? Of course it could have been done differently.
Everyone's got guns, and Batman's running through them.
Of course, he's Batman. This is the beginning of it.
Rubber bullets, everybody. There they go. Even in animation, there's rubber bullets.
Those guys have the worst aim ever.
Yeah, they're cops. And didn't she send a rope down that just... I guess they just wanted to clean it up.
I think that might have been in a different sequence.
Okay, different scene.
Yeah, different sequence, but not here.
Yeah, this is going on too long.
Yep. And finally, it's over.
A rocket helicopter?
Of course. Now, of course, the propeller blades would have all fell on off from that boost, but hey.
Yeah.
See, that is the beauty of fiction. That's the beauty of comics. When it's working, you don't think about any of the other stuff because it's working. So you don't think about all the physics, and the total impossibility of any of these things happening. When it's not working, then all the stuff starts happening. It's like, hey, this is wrong, and this is sticking out like a sore thumb.
Yes, yeah,
Hey,
really.
who's that man behind the curtain? There's something going on
You're
over
looking
there.
at too much stuff when if it's going well, even the stuff that sort of continuity issues, anything like that, you're still in the story so much that oh yeah, that happened. It could things you point out, but you're so into it, it's just the story makes up for any of its shortcomings.
And Superman's going through these guys
Look at that! You saw the star. You know that they're going
like a knife through butter. Now I have to believe he's just killing these guys because I don't see any parachutes coming out, so he's just killing them because they're the enemy.
It's an act of war. Anything is okay in the act of war.
And they have to see it that it's him doing this. So anybody who thinks that Superman still isn't, operating or isn't viable, I mean, he just
Wow.
And again, when the comic came out, nobody thought two ways about it. There must have been lifeboats. Everybody made it off safely. There was no problem with it. I mean,
but there's such short scenes. When you see it played out like this, then you're just like, kind of run out of steam. Okay, when I got to this part, I had a lot of trouble with this scene.
But it works, doesn't it?
No, everyone outside of Batman, their life is just terrible.
Yeah, but she's still sexy.
like everyone. I mean, obviously the Joker is able to do whatever the hell he's able.
Do
to
we
do.
really need that scene? Do we really need to see him lip and pucker up? Okay.
Now, this is definitely similar to how the women are in the Watchmen. So it's in the Watchmen, they have certain characters that really don't have any skill, but they just sort of hung out with the heroes. And Selena Kyle basically has nothing going for her. She's now an escort. She doesn't have a body left, and she's using what little she has left.
Right, because Super Folks
there's nothing for her to do now.
Hey, what can I say? Super Folks is probably one of the most influential comic books
Yeah.
ever that most of you have never read. And because most of you have never read it, these guys have pilfered and ripped it off to no small extent. But it was the same thing out of Super Folks with the the love interest who became the stripper, the prostitute later on.
Well, that's if you go to that. The other thing is with the Super Folks is that the people who are in the know, they basically don't want to talk about it. Who's that? Kurt Busiek, even Grant Morrison did something, but it didn't get out. It was already pushed to the side, and everyone's sort of forgotten it. But it's sad to see that they would do something like that to her. Wait a second. What is this? Is this in the comic too?
Yeah, it was this needless scene from the comic where the Joker has, Catwoman. You know what? If you guys didn't read it, it doesn't matter.
Is that a segment of it, or is that something that they played out?
Then he goes to kill himself. He goes to kill himself because some machination on the Joker's part. It just didn't. Oh, here we go. Here's another one. Here's the first one.
He didn't do anything. What's wrong with this black guy?
He's there.
But he didn't get killed.
That's
right?
enough.
He didn't do anything wrong. He's a reporter. He has a good job. Finally, it's been disproven. A black guy isn't completely terrible.
Give him time with the same character. Go on, give him time.
Oh, okay. So this is the thing that was in 2, right?
3.
Oh yeah, and this is how. Oh God. Lord.
And look at his.
Wait a second. It's just. They just threw that in there.
See, look,
for
right there,
2
police brutality with the black guy. Right there, you go. See, I told you.
But it's the police. The police are bad. Okay, I'm sorry. So we have this is a major scene here, and it basically disproves the earlier scene, but we don't know yet. I'll jump the gun again.
No, I think you're right on point, Pete. Right on point.
Oh, the master disguise. Why did he use his disguise now? He could disguise himself as this person and did everything he wanted to do, but I don't know.
Oh, the biggest strength that The Dark Knight Returns had as a comic was, in spite of all the stuff going on, it was still an engrossing read. Because this stuff over here didn't necessarily work, but then you had stuff on this side.
This right here, this is where I was completely turned off. And actually, you have to imagine it was the biggest comic book at the time. So it's huge. You're like, what's Frank going to do next? So I have issue 3 in the hand, and I'm like, oh no, he's making fun of Wonder Woman too.
Yep.
Like just saying women superheroes, just get out of here. And then they're old and it's more frank in the art in this, and they're looking even worse.
Hey, the whole idea. This I thought was his little pseudo commentary on the early Wonder Woman books, because there was all this. There was a lot of Wonder Woman being tied up, a lot of bondage in the early Golden Age Wonder Woman comics, and
detective work. This one I didn't. Sorry.
So I thought Frank did that over there. So, but yeah, this was the big deal, right? Cotton candy,
Yeah.
the county fair.
Of course.
Yeah, it must be. This is Batman 1966.
No,
Yeah, let's beat up some more cops.
1966. It would have been much more elaborate if you watch the things that they figure out. You'd realize that Batman's a lot smarter than I am. He's way smarter than I am. And
Here comes the hypocrisy, the biggest hypocrisy that I've seen. They're shooting at Batman and Robin. Okay? Robin almost dies. Not because of anything Batman does.
Go.
Okay? But because of what? oh, come on. Okay.
You're pushing it borderline.
She almost dies. She almost dies because the cops shoot at her. And then the cops want to charge him with reckless endangerment. It's like, you were shooting at a kid.
Well, Batman's also to blame for killing that guy too, right? The guy who fell with the what's the name? With the flag. So they're after him for that because was he just up there with that guy?
No, he don't think he had any problem with that. But the whole setup of this was to try to give the cops a legitimate reason for coming after Batman. Because what was the whole build up with the issue 3? Batman hasn't killed anyone. Batman hasn't killed. No, we forgot issue 2 where he killed someone.
He used the gun. We didn't see the death on camera.
Yeah, he killed him.
So they don't have proof that he killed him. He believed him, and Gordon let it happen. So,
okay. All right. So since you killed that guy over there in issue 2,
you're not gonna do that.
Okay.
He did not use the gun.
So we got to take Lana Lang's word for it, because she says Batman didn't kill anyone, even though she wasn't there and it wasn't expounded on. Well, that's part of comics too. Hey, look, it's inconclusive. So fine. So the whole idea of this was to set it up where no, Batman's crossed the line. He's killed someone. Now we have a legitimate reason to go after him. Okay. Now we have the cause that we need to go after him and finally bring him in. That was the whole setup of the entire issue. That was it. There was nothing more to it. The whole idea was just to get him into the point where he's crossed the line, and now he has to be brought in. He's got to be brought in. But who's going to bring in Batman?
Yeah, but the other thing is that Joker has killed so many people. Wouldn't the police be happy that they just killed him? He's killed like a whole what's the name? Audience, televised killing. And they're like, this is extreme? This is supposedly extreme? I think they would be, the public would be happy for Batman to kill this Joker.
But shouldn't he be dead already? He's got that batarang, like half the batarang is through his eye. It should be touching his brain. Yeah. But well, as they say on the internet, comic books.
So you had to do something.
Because the Joker has to stay alive long enough to kill himself. So we can go through this whole thing with Batman having killed someone.
Lord of mercy. And everything's a lot slower, even though it's animated.
Now, where's
he running to? There's no room to run.
Which was first? Was this first, or was the Killing Joke?
This was first.
Okay, so did Moore get inspiration for his whole Funhouse thing from this scene right here?
He's just you could say that, but it's he's a Joker. Someone's always going to try to do some sort of carnival or.
Well, they ripped this from Bruce Lee's Enter the Dragon.
Yeah. Batman's also master of fun houses.
Well, every once in a while they try to do the Batman stuff. They try to do the Batman stuff, like, hey, I can, I can disappear at will, and I'm like a shadow creature of the night, that sort of thing. Though they sacrifice just about all of it to turn him into an urban terrorist.
Yeah.
Which is how Miller says he saw the character. He just says he sees Superman as a soldier and Batman's a terrorist.
Lord.
Not a detective.
That's always what happens. The Joker always runs out of bullets right on time.
Of course. You were the one. You were the guy who hit me to this. What's the central theme of The Dark Knight Returns? What Jim Gordon tells him. He's like, it's not that you're this great detective, okay, or you're super strong or you're super smart. You're lucky. He's like, you're lucky, and eventually your luck is going to run out, like any other guy. Okay, and when it runs out, you're dead. That's pretty much the end of it. So the Joker will always run out of bullets. You know, his cape will be there so Robin can grab onto it. You know, you're just really, really lucky. And that actually sold me. Okay, understanding that theme. I understood it as a kid reading it. And as an adult, it solidified it. But that's what really sold me on the whole series is that for everything else that we want to say about Batman, when you look at the thing, he's just lucky. He gets a lot of breaks that the average person just wouldn't get. He's about to get killed by the mutant. This young girl who happens to dress up as Robin comes to bail him out.
Yeah.
He's just lucky, lucky, lucky all over the place. So, and it works as a theme. The other stuff is pretty bad, but that theme ties together, especially when we get to the end.
This is, as you said, this tunnel of love.
See?
The Joker and Batman, tunnel of love.
Of course.
Batman, get your own boat. And now he's just going completely crazy. This is not... This is like...
I thought he ran out of bullets. Where did he get the new ones?
Remember, he ran into another cop.
Oh, okay.
And he put his gun down, and of course, somehow... They didn't show him kill the guy, but of course he got the gun from that guy. What's Batman gonna do? Joker's just killing everybody. Because so fewer smiles. He's got to just kill. He's not even trying to get a smile. He's just going crazy. Oh, and then, you know, what's the name? We reference, what's the name? Endgame in Scott Snyder's recent Batman. They fought in a Bat Cave, I guess it was. I think they were in a Bat Cave, their final battle.
Bat Cave of Love.
Look at the hearts. Symbolic.
Yeah, symbolic. All this crap that they...
Oh, Lord.
And then all of this buildup, it was all of this buildup for what? He still doesn't kill him.
But the other thing is that Batman's fought 3 million cops and took their guns, took everything away from them. And with the Joker, he's just letting himself get injured. He's just not as good.
Plot induced stupidity. Okay.
Oh, no.
Reading it as a kid.
Here we go.
Reading it as a kid, it was this desperate thing for Batman because the only reason why the Joker was able to get the drop on him, he was telling us he's still as fast as ever. You know, I guess he's a little slower, but you know, he's the Joker. He's the Joker. He's not this really strong guy.
Well, I mean, I know early on very early on, they were having him as an equal. You know, at least he wins the first fight he has with Batman.
But he got the drop on him, if I remember correctly, in that one.
Yeah, but I mean, like they're saying, he's at least a fighter. At this point, Joker has been in the insane asylum. He hasn't. What has he been doing? Working out? I guess he has.
He's been doing the same thing Batman's been doing.
He blew up and he got almost. I take it back. It makes sense now.
Well, if you look at it, I guess if you look at it from Grant Morrison's perspective, it makes sense. Grant Morrison looked at the whole thing as that Batman can come back after being retired for all these years because he's more than a man. He's this guy who's in tune with this particular oath of vengeance and to make certain that it's dealt out to people who cross the line. Okay, so that's how he's able to do it. Him coming back as this mystical spiritual rebirth that allows him to do it. Now, if you want to look at the Joker in a similar manner, where the Joker is this, and I've never looked at him as this agent of chaos because that's too orderly for somebody who's this psychotic. Yeah. So I never looked at it in that term. But that's how he would be able to do it. His crazy is just there, waiting to unleash, and it kicks in all the endorphins. It allows his muscles to stay strong and limber, and even though he's been just sitting around in a dressing gown all this time.
What just happened?
He snapped his own neck.
But in the comic, he was trying to kill him, and then he sort of couldn't go through with it.
Yeah, Batman got him half the way.
And they had the killing joke where they share a last comment, and Batman sits next to him. Was like, "Hey, buddy, it was fun. We should die together." Nope, I'm Batman. I forgot I'm Batman. Oh my god!
And these guys are late.
Why are they in the boats? Why are they taking the things go slow? Why are they in the tunnel of love boats?
Oh man.
This.
Okay.
Sorry, Mario. I thought I liked 3, but maybe I fell out of it. Oh no.
Are they okay? So Batman must be about 6'7", because when he stands in the water, he's like the water's up to his. You know.
Yeah.
These
Yeah.
guys standing, they're thigh deep. He's not quite,
It's
but he's
not
more
as
than a man.
It's not as dramatic. It's using Frank's dramatics.
Oh,
And then Batman has it all completely booby trapped.
Yep.
What is going on? He just okay. I can see why they had to kill him because I mean, look at that. He could have just left. Uh
Batman's going to use a gun. That's against the oath.
oh.
He's already broken the oath, earlier, but hey, that used to be a big deal. Two things that I was noting with, amongst Batman fans, they'll say Batman doesn't kill, and Batman's not supposed to use firearms. Now, both of those were broken a long time ago. He did that in the 1989 movie. He had guns ablazing on that Batmobile. But what I found was always funny is that nobody ever really remembers. Like, hey, he had guns. He had guns on that. He had guns on that. You don't remember? And they're like, what was it? Rubber bullets. It was still a gun, and he was shooting people.
Yeah. The Joker's still laughing. Somewhere, D-Man is laughing.
Yep. Eternally.
Wow. This is kind of... at first, I think when I was looking at it shorter, I didn't really think about it as Batman really need to be taken out. But now, looking at that scene,
yeah,
I think Batman, they should... I'm with Yindel again. Yindel really should have taken him out.
You have such an affection for this character. I don't know what it was that you thought
Miller... I'm saying it just didn't play out. I'm like saying you don't throw in the new commissioner and have all that symbolism of the old commissioner for the first two, and then you have the new one and it just plays out for one issue.
Well,
and then she's gone. So I mean, they didn't show enough for me to. I mean, this one they show more of her body because it's animated. They don't want you to lose the fact that it's a girl.
she's a stock character.
But
she's
have to be.
She's the sheriff who's after the outlaw and she can't catch him. She's the bumbling one.
Have to be. If they didn't have, I'm always going.
Batman is Zorro and she's Batman's Zorro and she's Montero and she can't catch up to him. She's a stock character.
What's going on? They are terrorists. They are really bad.
Yes, under Miller. But again, the reception to it was that nobody had any problem with it because if Batman is blowing up stuff and attacking cops and doing this, well, Batman's the good guy, so he must be right, right? It must be right. If he's raining down all of this stuff, it must be for a good reason. They just don't understand. Batman's misunderstood. This type of destruction I would really give to like the Hulk or something of that nature where you could say the whole misunderstood sort of thing. But here, none of this stuff is necessary. I mean, the character used to operate with a certain amount of stealth, but I guess the stealth went with the ears.
You're right, but then if you're shot and you're bleeding and you're in such bad shape,
he's got his guts spilling out here.
I'm not sure if taking this flight this way is any good for you, but it's comics.
No, the rope will help to stop the bleeding, like a tourniquet.
It's like, shouldn't that almost crack his? Here we go.
He has survived worse.
Now this I'm gonna go, since we've gone off all the way. Let's keep in mind the heart, because the heart plays a lot. But then I'm gonna go off on a tangent. I'm not sure you're all gonna just remember. Look at the heart. This is an important part to it. And remember, I said I'm going on a tangent, so that's it.
That's it?
No, I'm gonna bring it up later. But just remember, they're showing you the heart because it's gonna lead up to something later, and then I'm gonna add a tangent to it later.
Okay. So we'll all be here too. Ugh.
So we're now calming down from the scenes that we saw before.
Right.
Batman is now he was already persona non grata. Now wait a second, but there's a bat phone. Did they take apart the bat phone? Did they get rid of everything? And then we get to see Sarah. We didn't get to see her in the comic, and she's just as we imagined her.
Yes,
she looks sort of like the girl from Batman Year One.
Yep, that's one of Miller's women.
Oh God. So
coming over to give my wife a hug. Here's a list. Hit the bricks.
So what did you say? It's sort of a calm before possible storm. Why is it so calm in Gotham City right now?
Because all hell is about to break loose. This is Gotham City. And Gotham City is known for many things, but not for being calm. Oh, there we go.
Oh, I was about to go to sleep.
Special report.
I thought nothing was going to happen. Oh,
yeah, I remember. Yeah, this was great. I remember this because he was in that type of suit. I thought he had run all the way to outer space.
Yeah, you couldn't tell that, and you don't really know now that they go into the bowels of the earth. So it could be. It looked like he was possibly getting into a rocket and leaving.
Yeah. No need to worry. We've got our deterrent. The Man of Steel, the Man of Tomorrow, Superman. Okay. If you are a Superman fan like myself, you understand why this scene coming up here makes no sense. Superman has been able to survive nuclear explosions with no problem. Okay?
Some problem.
John Burns reboot.
He was hurt a little.
I shouldn't say John Burns reboot. But John, he withstood a 40...
We're not disagreeing. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that he should be able to redirect it a lot quicker than he is. You're like...
And where's it going to land? It's going to land right on Corto Maltese.
We saw him redirect missiles in Superman... What was it? The Superman movie.
And this adds insult to injury. Because he's redirecting it into where? The stratosphere.
Yeah.
Into space.
Right over Gotham City, though.
But again,
oh my God.
Superman has been shown to be able to fly through the sun. The sun has nuclear explosions that are the size of the planet Earth, and he's not the worse for wear. So
where is this fictional town? Where is this fictional island? Where is it? Is
South America? Come on, this is the 1980s.
What was the Gotham City?
What was the big war? What was the big war in the 1980s that happened near South America? Falkland Islands with the UK. So that's all it is.
I'm saying that Gotham City is like Chicago, right?
Actually,
at one point it was New York.
It was like I think it's like Eastern Seaboard.
They moved it towards Chicago, right? And now it's like it needs to be closer.
Oh,
so they can have an island.
I don't believe this.
Well, they went for it. They look at Superman. This is showing him surviving. He survived it.
Yeah, as a cadaver, and it influenced all of these people afterwards. Literally, you had after the reboot from Crisis. This was a Joker episode too. The Joker gives him like a 40 megaton bomb. That's a thermonuclear bomb. Mm-hmm. It knocks him out for maybe half an hour at the most, and he's supposed to be weaker.
Oh no! Yeah. He's drawing his energy from the Earth.
Yep.
What does that mean?
That means Miller does not understand how Superman's powers work, because you're not supposed to be able to do this. At all.
Wow. I thought it was just a cool visual of him touching a flower and having that symbolic thing.
See, here's the deal.
Wow.
He sucked all that energy out of the earth, right? Mm-hmm. It's not because it's a sunflower. Or because he just sucked whatever solar radiation was from out of the earth. He can do that anywhere. He could have done that during the fight. He could have just, hey, let me just suck up some more at this point. Because it doesn't matter. It's not that no one actually believes that sunflowers hold solar energy.
What is it some sort of like photosynthetic? I'm gonna go.
No, it doesn't work that way. He's not photosynthetic. If that was the case when Night came out, he wouldn't be able to do a damn thing.
Well, this was what Miller, his true original ending was supposed to be, that when it comes night, Superman's power is less. So not only did he struggle with the nuclear thing, the nuclear explosion, it's also nighttime. So Batman can also fight him at night, and Superman will be a little less powerful, even though notwithstanding that the sun's rays is constantly hitting the Earth at some point.
Well, it's the sun. We get if that was the case, if it was only night and the sun was not giving us the proper warmth, everybody on that dark side of the planet would be dead. Yeah. Very, very quickly. So it's a cool visual effect.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, and that's a big selling point with The Dark Knight Returns. The art, looking at those sequences, and I still remember being a kid and reading it and like, wow, this is some really heavy stuff. The only thing was, I remember going into some comic store and I was like, oh yeah, Dark Knight Returns, that was good. It was an older reader and he was looking at me like, you don't know. I was like, no. He was like, Superman, you can't beat him like that. He was like this, that, and the other. And then you go back and you look at it again, you're like, hey, he's right. But again, the art stands out so much. So some of those images are beautiful at the end of the day. To borrow what Petey has told me before, and I've gone back to look at it again.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, I think they've lost all of the energy in here.
Never had it.
Yeah, but it's like when you had Batman on a horse, it was an interesting scene to see. And then I'm not sure
He's a
this.
cowboy.
Yeah, but at the same time, it doesn't work that Batman's doing this, and it felt like he was saving all of America, but it's only really Gotham. It's like he's showing this nuclear explosion, which is going to affect who knows countless, maybe a few states or whatever. But this is saying, okay, Batman is. It had a feeling like he was saving the planet, saving the Americas, because they had all that symbol, but it's only really Gotham. So
Well, that's all that
I don't
mattered.
know. It's like there's no order brought to everything.
This wasn't a treat.
Oh God, come on, not the looting.
And Yindel powerless.
Oh God.
Yindel impotent. Impotent.
Oh no, look at the.
See,
oh no, more.
I've heard people tell me
more
this is supposed to be some sort of a treaty on the United States, and it's not. It's New York City, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And people can
Yes.
disagree, but you're wrong. It's New York City because this is what Miller was seeing in New York City,
Yes.
okay? And the problem was in New York City because if this was Kansas or Mississippi or Oklahoma, the situation would be different because it's not the same as New York City. No place is quite the same as any other. So the whole idea was that the people needed to come over here, rise up and take the city back from the crime, okay, not wait for the government to come in and help them. Okay? But then it became this larger treaty on the United States of America, and like, oh, good grief.
Well,
it's
sort of like
just
what
not.
you said on the other one, that Frank Miller lived in New York City.
Yeah.
And New York City was a really tough area, a lot of criminal mischief. So it's like
1970s, 1980s.
Yep.
If you come to New York now, you probably would never know what graffiti is.
Yes,
okay?
yeah. A lot of kids from Japan or wherever, they want to come see New York and see the graffiti. And they're like, where is it?
Yeah.
There's nothing here.
You'd have to take you can't take an airplane. You have to take a time ship in order to see it.
Yeah.
They really cleaned the place up, and they did it very simply. You know how they did it? They got more police. They didn't use Batman. They got more police. So there's the irony in that one. But here, I mean, it was a funny thing because I debate with this guy over The Dark Knight Returns and his idea of United States, and I said, so what's the answer here? Cowboy justice? He was like, oh no, I say he's on a horse with a lasso, okay?
Yes.
But it's not an allusion to that cowboy era, right? No, but it's amazing what people get out of it. But it's cowboy justice.
Yeah.
Gordon isn't able to get people together because of the speech he makes. If you read the comic, the threat is, hey, look, you can help out, or I can blow your brains out, so I don't have to worry about you being a problem.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's how it went down. He doesn't get he gets people's attention through the gun. Batman's able to get people's attention, because he's the strongest cowboy.
If you got the gun, you should be able. You got the power. That's what the whole aspect is. But I think they almost ran out of money on the budget. Like the animation is looking bad.
They had money.
Well, I mean, you're doing 2 movies. Where did that come from?
But this is a labor of love, man.
What? So you just send it out to the animators, and then they just sort of send you back, like Cheese Whiz. Like,
see, look, guys are stifled.
Lost all of its energy.
Hey, he's Wyatt Earp. This was he's about to go have the last roundup.
Yeah, I'm sorry, anyone listening. I thought I would be able to sort of try to give some salutes to it because at this point you have to also imagine that Miller done such good in the first 2. They were sort of like, oh, it doesn't matter because you're sort of letting him have his excess because he's like the art's good and the first 2 issues are good. But now seeing these scenes play out for longer and not just as sort of snapshots in a page, it's like, is this ever going to end? Are we ever going to move on? We don't need these poignant scenes where they become brothers even though they're criminals because Batman's just talking to them. Oh, Lord. This a-hole.
Yeah.
Yeesh.
Well, there's always Man of Steel. Man of Steel coming soon.
Uh-oh. Yindel's like...
See, and with that's the end of her character. He's too big. He's too big. She looked at those trunks and said, hey, he's too big. He's too big. So that kills the whole lesbian aspect right over there. I know, in the comic it worked because he's giving this story about World War II and did they know? And the whole situation. And
I don't know if it worked. I didn't. I just was looking at the pictures.
No, with that story, it worked, and I understood why she said it. It's still her character was oh goodness, her character was. I mean, she was just there to serve a single purpose. She's the inept sheriff who can't catch the outlaw. That's it. He's he's the outlaw. He's the guy who's always going to get away. He's Zorro, and she's the leader of the Spanish militia, and she can't catch him. So there was never much more to her than that. At least from my salt, there was never much more to her than that. And I think the animation plays that out pretty well. What was her foundation if she could so easily be taken off? Like no. He's too big. No, he did a good thing right over here, but he's still vigilante. He still beat up all of those cops for no reason.
Well, that's an interesting part of having him on the horse and having him, the vigilante part. That's part that I guess can sort of work. So if you were still watching and still enjoying, like seeing him on the horse and having him be a vigilante, I don't know. In some ways that could work. It didn't work while I was just watching it, but if you guys are still hanging on,
Oh, you guys, they're there. Because don't worry, we have saved the best for last.
Well, we felt like it felt like an ending. I think we don't, even though they introduced Superman, what just happened here felt like an ending.
Yeah, this is second ending.
So now we're gonna go, and then oh Lord, your guy in the Gotham is causing a lot of trouble.
Yeah, this is the second ending.
The
first ending, he beat the mutant leader. Became, I think Morrison chopped it up. Let me not say chopped, but he analyzed it in 4 different sections of 4 different types of conflict. Man versus man, that's his fight against Harvey Dent. Okay, and then it was like man versus society, and that was the mutant guy. And then he has man versus God, or man versus the cosmos was his fight with Superman. Okay, but the one with the Joker, the one with the Joker was just man versus Kukuku. So
chaos.
Yeah.
What was this one coming up? This is man versus the classic man versus Superman.
Yeah. And then he transcends being a guy because he beat Superman. He's now on the level of the gods, that sort of thing. But more of like one of the trickster characters. The irony here is that you have Green Arrow and Batman working together, and up to this point, they had probably one of the more testy relationships in the comics when you read them.
They weren't.
It wasn't Hawkman. It wasn't like he had with Hawkman, but they definitely did butt heads more often than Superman and he did.
Yeah, I mean, but they were, all of the Justice League were sort of friends, and sometimes they try to tack on something that he was more Robin Hood, and these guys were sort of, what is it? I don't know. What do they call it? Was it brown shirts or something? I'm not sure. But sort of like playing at their sort of company men and sort of for the police and whatnot. I think that stuff is more tacked on. No, Superman comes and uses his heat vision to precision after the explosion. Just take out Batman.
Well,
this is my bit here. Here we go. We have the heart condition and we have the armor, like Marvel's favorite superhero, Iron Man. Like
very good.
So we have a situation where we're going to play up all the Iron Man stuff that Iron Man is able to do. Now this one, they're setting up what Batman can do. So we're not sitting there because we didn't know what he could do when he said he was going to fight him.
It doesn't matter. The fact that he can lift up the Batmobile, Spider-Man can lift up the Batmobile. Okay,
heart pill. He's trying, or is it not a heart pill? Is it something else? It seems like it's medication for his heart, but and then we saw that green thing in the back. What was that? What was that gonna play out later?
Could it be? No, I'll hold off. For those of you who haven't seen it, but I'm pretty certain. Look, it's green, it's shining, and it looks like a rock. I'm pretty certain you know what it is.
But, so this is another shade that they would use later in Dark Knight the Master Race.
Yep.
Now we have the tank going through. Oh no. Okay, he has this on, but he can't go full Iron Man. So he doesn't have the face mask. He has to stay a little Batman, and
he should have a face mask.
It's something.
Heat vision, right to the face. The fight is done.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, just like a quick, just enough heat, just like, oh, good, just overpower him, and it's done, no problem. Like,
Well, see,
to be honest, heat vision alone would have ended the fight because that's how the Russians were able to beat the German panzers. They took them out with Molotov cocktails. You know, they heated the whole thing up and they couldn't stay inside of it unless he really does have Iron Man type armor with a coolant system.
There it is. There, not only can you have to make a suit like that, you also have to, you know. Oh no! So this one, he bathed his X-rays actually has X-ray vision actually has X-rays radiation.
No, Miller doesn't understand how his powers work.
Then,
they never worked like that.
Anytime he uses them, he basically, you know why when you go to the dentist they put the lead on you? So
yeah.
like basically you have to have that around Superman.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of people. No, it's straight. It's straight. What's his name? Dr. Manhattan. Hey, you causing people cancer.
Well, yeah, there you go. Oh no, the tank. The tank is Superman is not all there. And this is obviously
this is straight Fleischer. This is straight out of the Fleischer cartoons where Superman, the Fleischer Superman cartoons. If you haven't seen them, I really recommend them.
Yes.
But in the Fleischer cartoons, the whole idea was to show that whatever it was enough to give Superman a challenge. So it pretty much knocked Superman back the first time. Mm-hmm. After that, Superman would just punch through it. Yeah. You know, he just didn't understand how strong it was the first time. He's like, oh, okay. And then he would just punch through it and he would get through it after that. So, you know, the missiles and everything, no big deal. Mm-hmm. And the Batmobile, no big deal.
But why is Superman waiting to fight? Just take everything off of him.
It's plot-induced stupidity. Green Arrow, he can take his own. Yep.
just remind everybody.
He's plugged in. He's plugged in. It's over now. Look, he just shorted out the power of the whole city.
The whole city, then he must be able to hurt Superman.
In the comic, he says, well, look, I'm charging him up with all this stuff, but I'm still not 1/100th of what he is. And you have to, again, if you think about it, he's like, well, if you're not 1/100th of what he is, why is this still a fight?
Yeah. No, this is another sad part that we lose Alfred and the way we sort of lose him.
No, we lost Alfred a long time before we got to this scene.
But I mean, we're setting up. What is Alfred planning? What is he trying to do here? Oh no, his arm. He's waiting for another dramatic moment to pass. Also,
but he's a true butler to everything is tidy. Everything's going to be tidy before it's all over.
Yeah. Oh. Walks out. Oh God, Superman still hasn't gotten out of that.
No, because again, the fact that Batman is now 1/100th the power of Superman is enough to keep him here. And then we get to hear Batman, you know, with these speeches and all of his petty jealousy. See, it just never made a lot of sense. Look, I admit, when I read it the first time as a kid, it was much more dramatic because I was like, wow, Batman's going to die. Superman's doing everything to hold back and Batman's going to force his hand and he's going to die. So right there, he had enough super strength to do super speed to flip him.
He had a rocket. He had Iron Man boot jets. All he needs is repulsor rays.
Yeah, I mean, the inconsistency. Look, I can zoom past you and you can flip me, but you can't dodge this punch. You can't get past the punch.
Batman's skill. He's so skilled, even with the armor. They've conquered the speed and the armor thing.
No, in order to make it a fight, you have to let so much go. And for me, the biggest thing I asked was, what was the enmity between these two guys? You know what the enmity was? The enmity was that Batman felt that Superman should have never stood down. You should have been the one to come over and tell these guys, no, we're still going to do this. We're not going to stop. Yeah. And that was never Superman. Superman works at the will of the people. Okay? And I'm not saying the government, all right? But he's not going to go against the government and thereby create this schism and those sort of things. Batman would do that. And so the whole thing comes down now, well, I'm angry at you because I had to retire.
He's beating the hell out of Batman. Superman. He's beating the hell out of Superman. Superman hasn't even taken a punch yet. Look at this. Oh,
we got one punch.
It's so equal.
See, there's two.
They can go. Batman is still a better fighter, so basically he just beats. Okay, it's over. It's over.
He's holding back.
It's over. He just punched him down.
He's holding back. That's why it's still a fight. You know, look at how agile he is. This Tom and Jerry. Tom and Jerry.
It feels like the Avengers It feels like the Avengers did this in the second one, the Hulk, Iron Man versus the Hulk, but they decided that there's no way Iron Man could win. Oh,
So
God.
right there, if that had connected, would that have been the end of the fight?
It should have been. He can't be able to move that. Oh God, I'm hurting. This is so bad. Oh, look at that. How can you even swing with those things? Oh,
He's swinging.
there's it over. There it is. Right there
Back
we go.
back to
right
the lamp.
back to the lamppost.
That's the best lamp in the DC universe.
So his heart. Remember, Iron Man, when he gets into a fight, his heart also. He also has a heart
So
condition.
here's the thing: why don't you just end this now?
Can't. He's too overconfident.
Why are you
a-hole.
Why won't you just
Jerk.
end it now? No,
Everybody
no.
thinks he's a jerk, and even though he's not a jerk, everybody thinks he is a jerk, and he's been so holier than thou. He's finally getting his comeuppance.
Yeah,
that he didn't deserve.
The comeuppance that he never needed. He crafted him into this sort of character for this story, which, to be quite honest, he's still not, unless you really just read into everything of that nature. Fine. Okay, and then at least give it to me where I can say, okay, this whole fight was plausible to a certain extent. At any point, he can end this fight. No, I'm going to drag this fight out just long enough so you can win.
Yeah.
Come on. You got Green Arrow.
It's not over. All this is happening.
Yep.
And Superman hasn't ended the fight yet.
Well, the whole
It's
idea.
not over.
What was the whole idea? That he was supposed to outlast. He was supposed to last just long enough. See,
No.
that's how you win a fight, by lasting long enough to lose.
Oh God, he just shot. It was not repulsor rays. It was acid. Oh Lord.
Yep. And then he just hit him with the glowing explosion. Oh goodness!
Wow,
But
Superman did a lot worse in this fight, even at the larger scale.
no, the comic was worse. They didn't even move around
He
as much, and
didn't
he was
move.
plugged into a lamppost.
But
He
he
could have just
still-
unplugged them.
He should have, but it's like he could have just. Oh God, he has no mask on.
He's dead, right? Nope. That's some good armor.
Oh, what's
Now-
the timer for?
Because that's when the pill is going to take effect. So he needs to keep this fight going for another
We don't
minute.
know that yet.
Okay.
It's a surprise.
It is. Like that kryptonite right there was
they
a surprise.
tricked. Remember in the comic, Superman caught it in time. For some reason, it still exploded.
Yep. He got lucky. Oh.
Wow, what Batman is such... He's kicking a person while he's got kryptonite.
I mean, he's kicking a man while he's down?
Yes. It doesn't make any sense.
Because Superman's
He's
not
totally
a man.
cheating, and he's saying he's the only man that beat him, but he just got help from... That wasn't my bit. That was on a meme. I saw it on a meme. I can't take complete credit.
What? And then throughout this whole thing, while he's getting his butt kicked, Superman is still concerned about Bruce Wayne dying.
How can he see? He's kryptonite.
No, he's got enough power to do the stuff Miller wants him to do. He has enough power to be concerned.
Your heart.
He has enough power to do this.
If you got that, use the heat vision. Use the heat vision on his face. There's so much you could do.
It's the reverse of the other situation where Superman is talking like, "Hey, I can end this anytime I want to," and Batman's like, "Hey, I'm gonna keep talking because I got about 37 seconds left before this pill kicks in."
Just go ahead and kiss or something.
Yeah.
Because this is...
It's what it is. He's a jilted ex-lover. It's like, hey, you left me. You left me out here alone in the cold.
There's an element to that. And then,
you went on. Look at you. You look great. Mm-hmm. I got old.
And this part really hurt me. Because I've seen the Wayne Manor in the TV show and the comics. And destroying this really took a lot away from me. Besides even that, I didn't like the fight, but then seeing this part for the dramatic end of Alfred and destroying the whole mansion, it was just like, as a kid, why? Why does he tell him to get away? Like, why he loves him still?
I don't know. I was hoping you could answer that. He just beat the smack out of you. Yes, you guys are on different sides.
He just wiped the floor with you.
Right? And for some reason, throughout all these years, you've still been his friend. He's not yours anymore. Man. But you have still been his friend. And I'm like, why? It never made a lot of... It still doesn't make any sense. What was the connection between the two of you that you're willing to be this guy's punching bag? Yes. And this guy wants you to be his punching bag. They just never got that one across.
He's even got more injuries than...
Yep, still hasn't healed. because
because it's for effect.
yep.
Oh no, another bad Selena Kyle scene. Did nothing. He just the
Hey,
chicks don't really get anything in this story.
hey, he saved
I
it off
know Carrie Kelly, she gets little. She can become Robin.
because that's his character.
Yeah.
If it's his character, the woman's fine. If it's not his character, if it's Nancy, if it's Martha Washington, if it's Carrie Kelly, those characters are fine. Any of the ones that were already created, no. They did the wrong stuff with them, okay? And there's nothing I can do with them. And then the final moment. He hears the heartbeat. The jig is up.
Batman's one relative, which they know is not. Oh, come on. She's sitting around in the Robin costume. Oh, it's animated. We need to know who. Oh, come on. That hurt. It's a classic moment. Uh-oh. And here we go. It's going to say it for us.
And I was always of the opinion that, the wink meant that, okay, I understand, all right? I'm going to let you go your way,
Mm-hmm.
all right? Because we've both been on the wrong sides of this, and we're going to get back to the right side. And it was the Dark Knight Strikes Again,
Yes.
where Petey's take on it was finally proven. It was like, no, he's not going to bother us
He's not
anymore.
going to bother us.
Because if he does, I'm going to whip his tail like I just did here. And it totally undercuts it, because if that's the case, look, if you're afraid of this guy,
Yeah.
just dig him up and take him in. You can't. Well, he may have something inside of the casket.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. There may be another trick. So I'm just totally running scared of the dude. No.
And he has no other injuries. Like the armor works so perfectly. He's walking around like as surprised he was in issue 2.
Better.
So it's a sad thing. I know when I was reading the comic, I got to the end and I was okay. I didn't have as many problems as I have right now. But seeing it played out in this way, it's kind of, and I guess we've also argued and complained about it 3 million times.
Well, that's what I think good literature is supposed to do. It's supposed to make you think. You can re-examine it. You can go back to it a dozen times and still have a dozen more stories about it.
Yeah.
And like I've said to other people, I think The Dark Knight Returns as a story is a great story. It's a classic story. It's a masterpiece for Frank Miller, and it's one of the best Batman stories probably ever told. It does have a lot of problems with it, but the biggest thing that tied together was, one, Bruce Wayne gets the stability that he needs. He's no longer looking to go out in a blaze of glory. Instead of trying to die for something, he's now willing to live for something. Fine. And the part about just being lucky, even with that Superman fight, it's like, look, you got lucky. It wasn't that you were this great planner or anything. You got lucky. So those things tie together, and I thought that made for a really good story. Now, the animation here, I think, shows a lot of the weaknesses with the story overall, because it just displays them.
Even worse is how they expanded it so much that it dulled out a lot of scenes. And I think it was just, I won't exactly agree that it's the best, one of the best. I just think it's one of the most exciting Batman stories, and it's Miller's art. So when you get into it, I mean, I have not the ultimate, one of the large edition of it. I've bought it in different volumes. I enjoy looking through it and paging through it. I still get upset. I look at Batman at the light post. But, it's an enjoyable thing. I don't think it played out as well in the animated series. But, for you guys that like to fight, it's coming up. Let's see if they can play it out any better. We know it probably won't with Zack Snyder, but we'll see what happens when it comes into the movies.
Yeah, because, Zack Snyder's he's got his own problems. So, but hey, thanks for hanging out with us. We rocked out once again, and we'll see you the next time we get a commentary together, which hopefully will be real soon. So we'll see you back here soon. Thanks again.